This program is dedicated to the men and women of the United States Armed Forces, past, present, and future.
I'm Keith Warren. I'm a hunter, a fisherman,
I'm throwing a big old bait because I'm looking for a big old fish.
a conservationist,
Oh, come on.
a family man, and I'm proud to be a deer farmer. I'm taking a road trip, and we're going behind the scenes of today's most innovative deer farmers and wildlife management operations in North America. This is Deer and Wildlife Stories. Today's a first for Deer and Wildlife Stories. We're heading to Kentucky, a place they have unbridled spirit. This one's going to be fun.
Hi, my name is Clayton Blevins, and I am president of the Kentucky Alternative Livestock Association. And we're very proud to have Keith Warren and his Deer and Wildlife Stories come and visit us in Kentucky. This is the first time that Keith has come to Kentucky, and we're very excited to have him here with us. Kentucky Proud is the program that the Department of Agriculture has to help Kentucky farmers promote and market their product in Kentucky. We're very proud to have Keith come and visit us in Kentucky, and we have lined up some really great people from Kayla that Keith is going to be visiting with in Kentucky, and I believe that Keith is going to be surprised at what Kentucky has to offer to the cervid industry.
There he is working on the tractor. I bet that's him anyway.
This is one pretty state, isn't it? Look at this. I don't mean to scare you. Excuse me, you Kevin Reese?
Yeah,
I'm Keith Warren.
Keith, nice to meet you, buddy.
Well, nice to meet you too. Go ahead, do what you're doing.
We were just trying to fill some of the feeders today. It's time to, that time of the week to get the feeders filled up, so I was just putting it underneath our silo attachment here and try to get it full, and we use our tractor to fill them up with, so
Let her
you're
rip.
not interrupting anything.
Let her rip.
When I was talking with Keith the other day about his upcoming trip to Kentucky, I got all excited about his trip to see Bear Creek Deer Farm, and then I remembered I was going to be out of town. I was awfully disappointed. But I told him, I said, just come on up. My brother Kevin will be there working on the farm. He can show you around, take you on a tour of the ranch, and he'll be happy to show you the best of Kentucky deer farming.
This is going to be an awesome show today. We are in Kentucky with the Kentucky Alternative Livestock Association. These are deer farmers, folks, and if you're a deer farmer, Kentucky, well, it's kind of like the promised land. It's beautiful, the people are awesome, the country is absolutely spectacular, and the regulations, well, the regulations are such that, well, it makes it worth deer farming. Hey, buddy, what do you say? This is a Great Pyrenees, and he's got to be a young guy. And Great Pyrenees are probably one of the best dogs to ever have around deer. They love deer and they hate predators that get deer. So there's a lot of people who wind up using them. So I'm gonna find your name out a little bit later on, buddy, but I'm gonna walk over here and look at your deer, okay? All right, I got some shade cloth. This is an alleyway right here. Oh, there are the mamas and babies. A whole bunch of them. It is the last of July. And the babies here were probably, looks like they were started born probably about 8 or 10 weeks ago. So there's some big ones up there, but there's also some little ones up there. As soon as Kevin gets done filling that feeder right there, we're gonna go look at some bucks.
You want to get a closer look at these deer?
Is it hot and humid out here? Absolutely, come on.
I got us some peanuts here. We'll see if we can get them in a little closer.
Oh, you got a nice little alleyway here. That's good. We'll tell you what that alleyway is all about here in a second. This is some kind of beautiful country, and I see green grass. I mean, lots of pretty green grass. Tell everybody what this alleyway is now.
What we use the alleyways for is when we go to work the deer, it helps us to funnel them into our handling facility, into the barn. It's a lot easier that way, and then that way we don't have so much space for them, and it's very safe.
Yep, I see the shade cloth down the side. And
right.
It helps them out. I mean, and every pin connects to the alleyway, right?
Right, every pin is connected. They're all connected.
Y'all did have rain today, didn't you?
We did have. We had a bad storm this evening and stuff, so it's a little muddy, but try to step and stay in the grass as much as we can.
Yeah.
But we needed it. Help cool the deer off. See if I can get a few of them to come in and feed
I'll
some.
stand back here and just kind of watch. I know every time I go in a deer farmer's pens, you have to have the utmost respect for the farmer and for the deer because you don't want anybody getting hurt. Keep in mind that you're a stranger, and these animals, they may be used to Kevin or his brother Jonathan or his workers, but they're not used to us and certainly the camera. So we just want to be calm, don't move real fast. He's going to see if he can get some up here so we can take a look at him, but you're not going to believe what I'm looking at in there. This is naturally occurring. He's got some piebald fawns up in here. Take a look at that. If that is not beautiful. Oh my gosh.
We seen them this year. We were real surprised, and we feel fortunate to have them.
Well, show me some bucks. I've
Okay.
seen the girls. Let's go.
All right, yeah, let's take you and show you some of our bucks that we got.
Yeah, I hear you got some good ones.
Deer and Wildlife Stories is brought to you in part by the American Deer and Wildlife Alliance, Deer Guardian Misting Systems, Four Canyons Ranch, Hoff Power Polaris, Record Rack, and LE Fence Company.
I was very excited to hear that Keith Warren was bringing his television show on the Pursuit Channel down to Kentucky. This is a great state for deer farming, and it's just getting started. We've got a lot of opportunities, so this was a wonderful opportunity for us to show off Kentucky deer farming at its best.
Well, that's a pretty deer, Kevin. Tell me about him.
That's our Maxis buck.
How old is he?
He is right at a little over 4 years old. He is a direct son off of Max. And, he scored a little over 300 last year. We're looking for some great things to come from him. He's actually the sire of the two little piebald fawns that we looked at earlier, which was kind of a surprise for us.
Does he have any piebald in him at all?
Not that I know of. Not that I know of. He's an impressive buck. For the most part, he's pretty typical. He doesn't have a lot of junk off of him, good mass. I'd like for him to have a little more width, but we're working on it.
Well, he's a pretty good looking deer. Who says there's not big deer in Kentucky? Somebody who's never been to Kentucky.
Right. They need to come to Kentucky and we can prove them different.
Yeah, there you go. If somebody would like to come out and look at your deer farm, will you let them?
Oh yeah, we'd love for them to come. It's one of our main goals is to educate the general public of what we do as deer farmers. So you just need to call us up as long as we can. We'll set up one of our staff and we'll be glad to take them and show them.
I don't know of a deer farmer anywhere in the United States that will not open their gate to you and show you what goes on. So if you're interested in getting a hold of Kevin and coming out here to Bear Creek, or you're interested in looking at any of the farms that we feature on Deer and Wildlife Stories, all you got to do is log on to our website. We've got all the contact information there.
Most sportsmen out there realize that our outdoor traditions are under attack by anti-hunting groups. These radical hunting groups spend millions, tens of millions of dollars to see that all hunting is ended. Sportsmen, on the other hand, they realize that we need to fight to maintain our liberty to be able to hunt. Yet, did you realize that 90% of the sportsmen out there, that means 9 out of 10 of you watching, are not members of wildlife focus groups? Being part of an organized effort to preserve our hunting heritage is more important now for sportsmen than ever before. Individually, our message of conservation, land stewardship, responsibility for wildlife goes unheard. It's impossible for one lone voice to overcome all the rhetoric, the media hype, and years of political correctness run amok. But there is strength in numbers. The more sportsmen who are united and organized, the greater chance we have to defend against the onslaught of propaganda and misinformation about who we are and what we do. Our outdoor traditions deserve to be protected and passed on to our children and our children's children. So if you're not a member of a wildlife-focused organization, let me ask you to please consider joining the NRA, the SCI, or the American Deer Wildlife Alliance, because folks, really and truly, it is strength in numbers. We need all sportsmen to unite and get involved, and we will give them a good fight. For more information on the American Deer and Wildlife Alliance, please join us online at deerwildlifealliance.org. This is Larry Brock. We're over here at his farm, and And you know, on Deer and Wildlife Stories, we have featured a lot of different places, but we've really never featured what we're gonna do on this little story here. Larry doesn't have a real big farm. I'll tell you about it in a second, but one thing he's doing on this farm is he is collecting deer urine. And deer urine is helping pay the bills, isn't it?
It sure does. We collect it during the time when our does are in heat. We put the cedars in them just like every other farmer. We breed the same way. But when we pull the cedars from the does, we put them in the collecting stalls, and we collect it during the 3 days till we breed them, and then that's it. We just collect 100% doe in heat.
But you don't have a very big place. I mean, this right here, how many acres is it?
In this area here, I have just 4 acres, and I have 40 deer on it.
See, and the point I'm trying to make is that to have a deer farm, you don't need to have a big piece of property, do you?
No. There's nothing else I don't think you could take 10 or 12 acres and even start to make the money you could with deer farming.
Yeah, deer farming is a very lucrative thing, and it's a fun thing as well. And you don't do this deer farm by yourself, do you?
No, I have a granddaughter that plays a big part in it. It's just as much fun for the kids, and it's a good thing. It keeps them occupied. You know, they bring their friends over, hey, look, we got a deer farm. You don't help me feed my babies? And it's just, it's an exciting thing for me and the kids.
My name is Taylor Hibbets. I love to help my grandpa, Larry Brock, feed the deer, water the deer, take care of the babies, everything. It's so much fun. I enjoy doing this with my grandpa because, well, I have been since I was born, and I plan on doing this for the rest of my life. And whenever my friends come over, they're just jealous because they wish they had a deer farm. It's a miracle how fast baby fawns grow up, because I raise them in my house, and just to watch them grow up and their spots disappear is just amazing. This is my buck, and I named him John Deere. I would go ahead and call myself a deer farmer.
A lot of people that may not be a deer farmer or not know anything about deer farming may think that these deer are hunted. These deer that the kids are raising and we're raising, that these deer are actually hunted, that we're bottle feeding and all, and I want you to address that.
No, these bottle-fed does are just like part of the family to us. The deers are sold to hunting preserves or restocking facilities. They're not bottle-fed tame deer. They're raised to be more like a wild deer. You know, so they got more of a wild spirit to them. These bucks in my lot here, they're for breeding or for collecting bug scent.
Well, if somebody wants to get a hold of you to come out and look at your deer farm or are interested in scents, were there any rules, or is it just come on out, let you know and you'll meet them?
Just come on out, knock on the door. Someone's here all the time.
Yep.
So, you know, anybody, they're welcome to come anytime.
Deer and Wildlife Stories is brought to you in part by the North American Deer Farmers Association, DNA Solutions and the North American Deer Registry, New Dart, Shock Effect, and Sage Capital Bank.
We're taking the ferry across over to the other side. This is Cumberland River right here, and it's the only ferry, from what I understand, in Kentucky. Kentucky's a cool state. There's a lot of cool things about it. It's got the biggest free-ranging elk herd there is east of the Rockies. It's known for, obviously, the horse racing and bluegrass music and big bucks. It's also home to Honest Abe log cabins, and that's where we're going right now. We're going to go and meet Shane Smith. We're going to meet Honest Abe. The cool thing about deer farming is that you don't have to have a big piece of property. Of course, Shane's got a really big piece of property here, but we've seen deer farms here in Kentucky anywhere from, well, like Larry's got, 3-4 acres size, all the way up to this. I mean, so you don't have to have a big piece of property to be a deer farmer.
Yeah.
So you don't do any AI, right?
No.
Live covering. You just cover them in pens like this then?
Yep.
Okay. Every farmer that I've met from up here, well, I guess every farmer's a member of CALA. I mean, and if not, they should be. Well, how long have you been a member of CALA?
About 2 years. It's my second year. I've always just been amazed with deer farming. I've just fell in love with it.
Yep.
And we just kind of started down here. I just really enjoy it.
And if you're wondering who this is, it's Honest Abe. So
Actually, he's Shane Smith, but he goes by Honest Abe too.
Yeah, yeah. My dad started in business making log homes, Honest Abe log homes, and we've had this hunting facility down here at McFarland for 10 years, and we've always done deer and turkey hunts.
These deer are not the ones that you bring customers down here and hunt. I mean, you've
No.
Okay, I want to make sure we differentiate between these deer and that. You've got 5,000 acres out here of big, beautiful country.
Wild deer.
Hunt. Yeah.
Yeah. And if you meet any deer farmer, they enjoy it. I mean, it's something you don't do. You have to enjoy it to do this.
It's work.
It's work, and it's not any different raising horses or cattle or anything else. It's a lot of work, but for me, it just seeing bucks get bigger every year and watching them, and does have the little ones. It's every month of the year is something different, and it's just fun, and I really enjoy it.
As a deer hunter, have you learned anything more after becoming a deer farmer about white-tailed deer than you did before?
I do. Just kind of watching them and watching their feeding habits. You can tell, usually when these deer are out picking in the grass, your wild deer are out picking in the grass. And you kind of learn times of the moon phases, when they feed the best, watching bucks, being able to tell when they're nervous and when they're not. Just a lot of things you can learn from deer farming that'll help you hunt in the wild.
I ask every deer farmer this. If somebody is sitting there watching this at home and they want to know more about deer farming, have you ever met a deer farmer that won't open their place up to show what they're doing on?
Best people in the world. They'll help you set your business up. Lou's helped me a lot. Other guys in the business has helped me a lot, and just real friendly type of people that want you to do good.
Why is it important that deer farmers in Kentucky become a member of CALA?
That we all unite, all have the same thing in mind, work together.
This Deer Fact Trivia is brought to you by Record Rack Deer Feeds. What are the primary advantages of supplemental feeding white-tailed deer? A, full expression of genetic potential. B, improved health of herd. C, improved reproductive performance. D, increased milk production. E, longer breeding life in bucks. Or F, all the above. The answer after the break. The answer is F, all the above. For more information on Record Rack Deer Feeds, log on to record-rack.com.
On this trip to Kentucky, I have met lots of deer farmers so far, and every one of them said, you're going to love meeting Lou Ortega. And I'll tell you what, I've been here for 30 minutes, and it's like, you're not going to believe this guy. I mean, this guy is a deer farmer's best friend, and you don't seem to be your typical deer farmer. You came from Miami.
That's correct.
Okay, and you're up here in the hills of Kentucky as a deer farmer, and you do a whole lot more for the association than just to participate as a deer farmer. Tell everybody what you do.
Well, what I do for the Kentucky Alternative Livestock Association is really try to educate everybody in Kentucky what deer farming is all about, starting with the legislature, with Kentucky Farm Bureau, with the sportsmen. They need to get the straight story as to what we do and how we love our animals, how we raise them just like any other livestock.
Isn't it funny how deer and becoming a deer farmer will just change your life?
It really does. It really does. It has taken me through the halls of Frankfort, Kentucky, which is the capital, which I would never have thought that I'd be in there, dealing with the Kentucky legislature, Kentucky governors, for the deer farmer. I mean, it's been an incredible trip and a very satisfying trip, because this business is a wonderful business to be in, and great to have deer farmers around you, because they're good people.
There are a bunch of good guys and gals deer farming, and it's all the common denominator, those guys right there, the deer. They unite us, and we all are passionate about them. I mean, we're passionate about our land, our family, and our wildlife.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And have you met a deer farmer that's not a sportsman?
Not one.
No. I mean, we're all sportsmen. Not only we're in a very intensive group of sportsmen. We love to hunt, we love to fish, we love the outdoors, and that seems to be a surprise to a lot of the people that I talk to. I mean, I think we as a group are more sportsmen than many other groups out there.
I'm with you on that. I know. It's like, people go, well, how could it be? It's like, wait a minute, come to a deer farm.
That's it.
Every deer farm, every single deer farm out there is open to you. If you're watching this show, and I don't care if you live in Kentucky or Kansas or wherever, if you want to know about deer farms,
that's it.
Contact one of us.
And we will open the doors and love to bring you in and show you our animals, because we love them. Yep. And we know everybody else does too.
And we're proud of them. We're proud of ourselves. We're proud of our organizations.
No doubt about it.
Now, I want to ask you a question, because in Texas, as well as other states, I know that deer farming falls underneath the wildlife department at state agencies.
Okay.
That's not the case up here in Kentucky. Y'all
No.
fall underneath ag. Would you tell people why?
Back a few years ago, the Department of Fish and Wildlife basically controlled the cervid industry. They gave us the permits for our facilities, and they basically controlled our animals. They said that our animals were the state's animals, and that really wasn't the case. We paid for our animals are our own property, so we changed through the legislature to define our animals as livestock. So we changed the law, and we really have a split regulatory scheme where all the health issues, all the importation of animals and are controlled by the Department of Agriculture, and only the fencing is controlled by the Department of Fish and Wildlife. They give us a facility permit just to make sure that the fencing is built properly. And then the Department of Agriculture basically takes it from there. I think farm-raised cervids should be under agriculture. They really are livestock, and I think they should be controlled by the Department of Agriculture. The Department of Fish and Wildlife handles wildlife. And these animals are in our properties, we raise them just like any other livestock, and they really should be controlled under the Department of Agriculture.
What is the biggest challenge you think facing not only Kentucky deer farmers, but deer farmers in general?
Basically educating the public. Let the people know how you raise cattle, how do you raise the goats, how do you raise the white-tailed deer, or the elk, or any cervids. And the more we do that, the more in tune the public's going to be with what we do.
Yeah, I really appreciate you. You are one good catch for this group up here. I promise you that. Thank you very much.
All right.
I've been a deer farmer for a couple of years now myself, and it's really wonderful how deer farming relates to these kids. These is 2 of my 10 grandchildren. This is Logan, this is Isaiah. And I've come to realize how much that deer farming is going to be an influence on these 2 young men's lives in making them true conservationists and hopefully entrepreneurs.
Before you make your next Polaris purchase, you owe it to yourself to check out the #1 Polaris dealer, Hoffpower Polaris. Log on to keithwarren.net for 24/7 access to more information, more video, and full episodes. Reproductive services for deer and wildlife stories provided by Dr. Ray Favero's Whitetail Genetics.